Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wasn't going to speak on this motion, but having had the Honourable Attorney General accusing the NFP of not peddling the truth, far from it. Usually, the Attorney General, Mr. Speaker, has the habit of sidetracking and not really addressing the real issues. What Honourable Geragere Tambua said very clearly is the way in which the Public Accounts Committee has actually produced the report. I'm not accusing the members of the Public Accounts Committee, but I think, Mr. Speaker, it is important to understand that it was this government that actually changed the standing orders. They used the majority to change the standing orders of and make Public Accounts Committee almost irrelevant. Almost irrelevant because not only they chair the Public Accounts Committee now, the provision in the standing orders, and I'll just read part of that. The committee must only examine how public money has been dealt with and accounted for in accordance with the written law, and must not examine the merits of the underlying policy that informs public spending. I mean, this is a problem, Mr. Speaker. Value for money is the most important thing. I mean, the Honourable Attorney General was saying, oh, this one's, no single cent from the taxpayers came to this trust fund. Donors, when they give money to the country, they give it to the taxpayers of this country. When the donation comes to the government, it becomes the responsibility of the taxpayers of this country to ensure that that money is used properly, because some taxpayers in their countries are actually paying for it. So, this argument, this logic about donor funds should not be, accounted for in a proper manner, it actually defies logic. What is very important, and I think Honourable Gaboka was right, what is very important for any Public Accounts Committee in any parliament, Mr. Speaker, is to also look at the value for money. In fact, in many countries, when they have large projects, Mr. Speaker, the Public Accounts Committee actually has a role while the project is being executed, because that ensures that you don't come at the end of the day when the money has been spent. So what we are left with in the amended standing order is all the committee is supposed to look at is how much the money was spent, when was it spent, whether it's been accounted for. There is no question at all, Mr. Speaker, asked by this committee, or they don't have the powers to ask, the value for money. The value for money is the most important thing. That is why accounts are audited, accounts are scrutinized. So, this idea that, you do the accounts and you don't question. Sometimes, Mr. Speaker, even the policy has to be questioned. Because if the government makes a policy, and on the basis of that policy, funds are misused, then the committee has the responsibility to look at that misuse and question that policy and recommend change in policy. That is the job of the Parliamentary Standing Committee, Mr. Speaker. So let's be honest. The questions that Honourable Geragere Tambua and others, including the Leader of the Opposition, asked are legitimate questions. And let's not talk about who did what in the past. I think there are all sorts of questions. I mean, of the Honourable Attorney General, Mr. Speaker, Honourable Attorney General, Mr. Speaker, has his own political past. He was in another party, then then he came. He was a legal advisor. He actually, Mr. Speaker, he joined Peter Foster, the courtman, in the New Labour Party. So let's not go back 20 years. Let's deal with what's in front of us. I know that. So did the Prime Minister in 2006. So did the Prime Minister in 2006. So did the Prime Minister in 2006. Both are coup leaders. So let's talk about the democracy we are practicing now. That is a trait of that side. Many of them, I wouldn't call people obsequious fools, Mr. Speaker, but if he's talking about obsequiousness, that's...
Address the chair. Don't address the Attorney General. Address the chair.
Speaker, you also have to tell the Attorney General to let me speak, I think, Mr. Speaker, when you talk about obsequiousness, it's a trait on the other side, not on this side. So let me come back to the important point. In fact, Mr. Speaker, good governments, good leaders actually promote the standing committee. They actually ask the standing committees to do the scrutiny so that they can assess how the ministries, how the people who are using the funds are actually doing. So, it's in the interest of the government as well to provide the resources to empower the standing committees to deal with these issues properly. So, Mr. Speaker, we're not coming here with untruths as claimed by the Honourable Attorney General all the time. We come here with the mandate of the people. There are questions that people ask us, and our job is to ask the government ministers on the other side to answer that. They should answer the question instead of personalizing the issue. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.